What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and even though we do not have a face cam today, we are going to be bringing you an updated deck profile and combo tutorial for the Mannadium deck. And we're going to go ahead and jump on in. We're going to go a little bit fast for the deck profile, but that's just because I want to fit 2 combos in at the end, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Like I said in the intro, we're going to go a little bit quickly here on the deck profile because I want to be able to fit in 2 combos without making this a 30-minute video. So let's go ahead and show you guys. We are playing 3 copies of our Mannadium Meek. This is the only ball worth playing, so we really don't need to explain much more past that. We have our 3 copies of Mannadium Riemhart and our 3 copies of Mannadium Reichart. These cards in and of themselves are essentially 1-card combos, so you have to max out on them. We do have 3 of the new Visas Samsara. This card is absolutely incredible, being able to recur your resources and just allow you a free summon. Then we are on only 2 copies of Visa Starfrost. With the new way that the deck runs, you don't need more than 2 of this. It is very highly searchable and very highly recurable. We have our 3 copies of Kashtira Fenrir. Not only is this just a really good card to add onto your end board as an additional interruption, but it also allows you to search for the Scareclaw Kashtira, which again is pretty much full combo in and of itself. That is it for the regular monsters. Now we have hand traps. We are on our 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and that is going to do it for the monsters in the deck. Onto the spells, we are playing, I think it's 7 field spells, and those are going to be 3 copies of our Peaceful Planet Calarium, 2 copies of our Primeval Planet Reichphobia, 1 copy of the Wraitsoth, and 1 copy of the Perlerino. So we have all of these because the Calarium is able to search any of your Mannadium monsters, the Reichphobia is able to search for your Scareclaw monsters, the Wraitsoth is able to search for your Kashtira monsters, and then the Perlerino is just another way to search for your Visa Starfrost, and it really does come up, so you have to kind of play it. But to pair with all of these field spells, we are on a copy of Terraforming as well. We are only on 2 copies of Obsession. You can honestly probably play this at 3, but I wanted to keep the deck at 40, and I saw that a lot of players were actually only playing this at 2, so this is what I cut to get myself to 40, and honestly, in testing, I don't really miss it. You're able to search it really easily, so I don't think that you actually need 3. We have our 2 copies of Arrival. This is just a searchable Monster Reborn, which is very strong. Our 1 copy of Mannadium Imaginings, this is just for consistency. Honestly, this card kinda sucks because of how heavy Droll is being used, so maybe you can like cut this for something else, but I think it's still worth it for the consistency. And then we have our 1 copy of Realm Eulogy. This is something that we saw Triff do in his top 4 list, and honestly, it makes a lot more sense than the reframing, because this is really good going second as well, and unfortunately, you can't win every dice roll, so sometimes you just need a way to be able to go second, and this is a really good option to do so. We do actually side the reframing, same as what Triff did, to put in place of this when we know for a fact we are going first, but in a vacuum, I actually think that the Realm Eulogy is probably a better main deck option. Then we have our 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, because of course we need to be able to search our Riemhart, and we also have our copy of Called by the Grave. Droll is running rampant this format, and Droll is the biggest killer of this deck, so we just have to have it out. Even if it is only a 1 of, it's better to have it than it isn't. So finishing up the deck, we have our 3 copies of the Infinite Impermanence, putting the main deck at 40 cards. Let's show you guys the extra before we do those combos. The extra deck is going to be very standard, but we obviously have some new additions with Age of Overlord coming out. So we have our 2 copies of Vicious Astrolaud. This is actually a card I considered bumping to 1 because of something that we can show you later on in the combo, but essentially you're able to recycle this very easily, so I'm not really sure whether or not I'm going to keep this at 2, but for now that's what we have it at. Then we have our 2, essentially Mannadium synchros. We have our Mannadium Trisukta and the Visas Amritara. These are part of the combo, and now with Trisukta, you have quite a few 1-card combos that you didn't have previously. We have our 1 copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This is just a way to make sure you can get Dissipator, because if you're not able to cheat the Dissipator out with the Crimson Dragon, this is how you're actually going to hard make it. We have our 1 copy of Baron de Flor, our 1 copy of Bestial Dissipator, and our 1 copy of Chaos Angel as our level 10 synchros. Honestly, the Chaos Angel doesn't really come up all that much, but the second combo that I'm going to be showing you guys is a Chaos Angel combo, and it's really, really strong, so I thought that it was still worth playing. And then finally for the synchros, we have our 1 copy of Crimson Dragon. This is just the easiest way to get to our Dissipator, and it's just a really incredible card. We do play 1 XYZ, and that is going to be Abyss Dweller with the addition of Visa Samsara and how easy it is to summon it. We have ways to put a rank 4 on board, and against certain matchups like Unchained or Tier Limit, the Abyss Dweller is just super strong and essentially an FTK, so I feel like it's worth a slot in the extra. Onto the links, we have our 2 copies of Scareclaw Lightheart. I have lost too many games in testing because I only played 1 of these. This card is not once per turn, so if you are able to summon another one if they negate the first one, which this card kind of is a magnet for negates, then you're able to continue playing, and I just think that it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. We have our 1 copy of Cross Sheep as our link 2, along with our 1 copy of SP Little Knight. This card has some really cool interactions in this deck specifically, because what you can do is you can use its effect to banish your own Baron after it's already used its effect, and then when Baron returns, it'll have a negate again, because it's worded that you get the negate once while it's face up on the field, so if it leaves the field and comes back, it refreshes that negate, and that's just really crazy in and of itself. And finally, we have our 1 copy of Appaloosa. Honestly, this is a flex spot and can probably be anything, but I think that the Appaloosa is still well worth having, so let's show you guys those combos. For the first combo here, we are going to show you how a single copy of Riemhart is now full combo thanks to the fact that we have a card like Trisukta in our extra deck. So we are going to start things off by normal summoning out the Riemhart, which will activate its effect, and this is going to add us our copy of Mannadium Meek. Now, because we control a monster with the correct stat line, we can go ahead and special summon out the Meek, and now we actually have a Synchro 6 to go into. So we're going to go ahead and Synchro the Meek and the Riemhart into our copy of Trisukta, which will activate its effect on summon, and this is going to go ahead and reborn the Meek. Now we're going to take the Meek and the Trisukta, and we are going to use them to synchro summon out the Visas Amritara, and I do want to clarify here that yes, we did use 2 tuners. Amritara is one of a very small pool of synchro monsters that can be made using only tuners, so please don't comment that down below. I get a few comments on that every time I make a Mannadium video, but this is going to activate the effect of Amritara, which is then going to go ahead and search us our copy of Calarium. Now, because Amritara is treated as Visa Starfrost on the field, we can go ahead and link that off into our copy of Scareclaw Lightheart, which of course activates the effect of Scareclaw Lightheart to search for our copy of Reichphobia. Here we are going to go ahead and activate the Reichphobia, and this is going to allow us to search for our copy of Reichheart, which we can then go ahead and special summon to the adjacent zone of Lightheart. Now that we've special summoned the Reichheart will activate, and this is going to add us our copy of Scareclaw Arrival. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace the Reichphobia with our Calarium, and the Calarium is going to go ahead and add us our copy of Visa Starfrost. Now that we have the Starfrost in our hand, we can go ahead and destroy the Lightheart with the Visa Starfrost effect to go ahead and summon it out. Now, before we go and synchro, we are going to need to use the Graveyard effect of the Lightheart to reborn itself, and now that we've done that, we can take the Starfrost and the Reichheart, and we can go ahead and synchro those off into a Baron. Now, placement is somewhat important here because of Cross Sheep, so I'm going to go ahead and put it all the way over there. But our next move is going to be to go ahead and activate the Arrival. This can reborn either the Starfrost or the Reichheart, doesn't really matter because as soon as we reborn it, our play is to take it with the Lightheart, and we're going to go ahead and link those off into our copy of Cross Sheep. Now, here what we can do is we can take the Visa Starfrost in our graveyard and the Riemhart in our graveyard, and we're going to go ahead and banish those off for the summon of Vicious Astrolaud, which is then going to activate the effect of Cross Sheep to reborn a monster, and the monster that we are going to reborn is going to be the Meek. Now that we have the Meek on our field, unfortunately it is only a level 2, but we have a way to fix that. We're going to go ahead and use the Baron effect to destroy our Meek, and that is going to allow both Meek and Calarium to activate. So we'll make Meek Chainlink 1 and Calarium Chainlink 2. Meek is going to be summoned from the graveyard off the effect of Calarium, and then we summon an additional Meek from our deck using the graveyard effect of the Meek as well, and this one will be able to level modulate up to a level 4. And the reason modulating that to a 4 is important is because now with a level 4 tuner and our level 8 Astrolaud, we can go ahead and sync 12, and this is going to sync into our Crimson Dragon. Here we can use the effect of Crimson Dragon to target the Baron. That will of course put the Crimson Dragon back into our extra deck for the summon of Bestial Dissipator, and it's very important that we don't summon it in the linked zone for the next play, because our next move is going to be to use the Bestial Dissipator to reborn back our Visas Starfrost. Now, here is where we have reached a crossroad where you have two different lines of play that you can make, but it doesn't matter which one you do. I prefer the second line of play, but we're going to go over both. The first line of play is you can take the Cross Sheep, the Meek, and the Starfrost, and you can go into a 3-material Appaloosa, meaning that you'll end your board on 3 monster negates off the Appaloosa, an Omni negate off the Baron, and the Dissipator, which is either a pop or negate, depending on whether or not your opponent has banished cards. But what I much prefer doing is I prefer taking the Meek and the Starfrost and linking those off into a copy of Little Knight. And the reason that I prefer this is because the kind of disruptions being varied is a little important, rather than just having a bunch of negates being able to remove things from the field. Not to mention the interaction I mentioned earlier, where if you use the Little Knight to remove the Baron, then the Baron will be able to then use its negate again once it returns to the field. So that was all off of just one Riem Heart. Let's show you guys a 2-card combo now. For our second combo, I wanted to show you what would happen if we added in a Visas Samsara on top of the Riem Heart, and it actually makes a very similar end board, albeit a little bit stronger. So let's show you guys what we do, and it is going to look the same at the start, so we're going to kind of speed through it. You're going to go ahead and use the Riem Heart to search your Meek and summon your Meek. You're going to use the Meek and the Riem Heart to go into your copy of Trisukta. Trisukta is going to go ahead and reborn out the Meek, which you can then go ahead and use both to link into our copy of Amritara. Here, Amritara is going to go ahead and add your copy of Calarium. Then you link the Amritara into your copy of Lightheart, which searches you your copy of Reichphobia. Reichphobia will activate and search you your copy of Reichheart. You will go ahead and special Reichheart to search for your copy of Arrival. Then you are going to go ahead and use your Calarium to search for your copy of Visas. And now we are in a similar situation as the first combo, but we're going to do things a little bit different. Here we're going to go ahead and summon out the Samsara by shuffling back our copy of Amritara because it is treated as Visas in the graveyard. And now we can go ahead and make a level 8 Synchro. So we're going to use the Samsara and the Reichheart, and that is going to go into our copy of Excel Synchro, which will activate its effect on summon to reborn out our copy of Meek. Here we are going to use the copy of Starfrost in our hand to summon out by destroying the Meek, and that will activate Meek as Chainlink 1 and Calarium as Chainlink 2. So we'll go ahead and reborn the Meek, and then we will summon another Meek from our deck and level modulate it into a level 4. Here, using the level 2 Meek and the Excel, we're going to go ahead and go into a copy of Baron de Fleur, and then we can take the Starfrost and the Lightheart, and we're going to go ahead and link those off into our copy of Cross Sheep. Now we can go ahead and use the Starfrost and the Riem Heart that we have in our graveyard, banishing both for the summon of the Astrolaud, which is then going to activate the effect of Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep here is going to reborn out the Reichheart. Remember, because this was a level 4, we can go ahead and take it with the Astrolaud and go into our copy of Crimson Dragon, which we can then use the Crimson Dragon to target the Baron, putting it back and summoning out the Dissipator. Here what we can do is we can go ahead and use the Arrival, or rather, my bad, we are going to use the Dissipator first. This is going to reborn out our Visas Starfrost, and then because we control Visas Starfrost, we can now use the effect of Lightheart to summon itself. Here we're going to take the Lightheart, the Reichheart, and the Cross Sheep, and this is going to make a 3-material Appaloosa. And now we're going to use the Arrival, which is going to go ahead and reborn back our Reichheart. And the Reichheart plus the Starfrost is going to be able to make us a Chaos Angel using both light and darks, so that is also going to protect our synchro monsters as well. So we end on 3 monster negates, a negate depending on whether or not our opponent has banish or a pop, and our Baron Omni negate, and we still have 3 cards in our hand. So there is the second combo. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my updated Mannadium deck profile and combo tutorial. I do apologize that it might have been a little bit rushed. Like I said, I didn't want to make a 30-minute video, and I wanted to be able to get both the profile and the 2 combos in the same video as well, just to make it easier for you guys so you didn't have to wait for another video. So I hope you guys liked it and learned something. If you did, you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with your friends. As always, don't forget to check out the channel sponsor Dueling Guard. Using code INSANE18, you can get 5% off your entire order. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.